We are live from LEDucation 2024 here in the beautiful Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan, Greg Ehrich.
That's right.
Wow. KeystoneTech.com. That's KeystoneTech.com.
Making light easy, reducing inventory SKUs that you need because a lot of color selectability, wattage selectability, and even optics on area lights. Make it easy, man.
Keep it easy with the good folks at Keystone. Go to KeystoneTech.com. That's Light Made Easy. We're here today with Avi Moore from More Lights. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. First day. This is great.
Isn't it great? So is this your first time to LEDucation, Avi?
No, this is my third. This is the second time I brought my entire team. This is an important show for us to attend.
Is it more important for designers than it is for other people in the lighting industry?
I think so. I think it is extremely important to know who the manufacturers are and see the products. But I think even more important is knowing who's designing the products at the different factories, who the senior most people are at the factories. Because think about it this way, guys. I'm involved in jobs that are 20, 25 years long from the day they start to the day they end, right? The product is going to change rep agencies. It's just going to. So we need to know the people at the factory who are doing the things. And this is the best opportunity to do that. I also really like here, everybody's the same size. So whether you're a Keystone or you're a manufacturer XYZ, everybody's the same size. So really it's about product and then the right people in that manufacturer. So you get that comfort level, right? Long-term jobs.
So your third year here, and I'm probably going to ask this multiple times today, but what have you seen different from year to year, from the third year or the first year to this year?
Well, I mean, man, it gets more and more packed. I mean, just getting onto the floor today, really tight. So that's always challenging. I love how they change where everybody is every year. So it's kind of a hunt and peck, try and find. It's very early in the show, so I can't tell you where everybody I like is or the new things I've seen yet. But I love that there's always something new. There's always something else to see. And then the camaraderie. I mean, let's not forget that, right? Seeing some people you haven't seen since last year at LEDucation.
There's something to a show being packed that I like. And there's problems that come with packedness, and whether it's a nightclub or a trade show. But the vibe and the energy at this show is the best I have ever seen in lighting in 20 years, Greg.
You're saying ever, even
ever.
Think Light Fair like 10 years ago. No,
there's no vibe like this. This is a
right.
serious energy level that I haven't seen in lighting in a long time. And reportedly it was last year, but this year it's even better, Greg.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is our first time coming.
Sure.
So we're seeing it for the first time.
You guys, I mean, this is the show. I'm actually very curious to see what the latest news, what happens with Light Fair, with Light and Build coming in. I think it's a great thing for IES and ILD. But what's going to happen with Light Fair in this? We don't go to Light Fair. More Light's team doesn't go to Light Fair. It is not in our schedule. It's not in our plans. And honestly, I would like to see Light Fair become something more like this, because think about it this way, guys. I'm a big picture kind of a person. So a manufacturer comes to this show, they have a cost. This cost is significantly less than going into I'm from Chicago, right? McCormick Place, the unions and the booth setup and all that other stuff. So what happens when Light Fair becomes more cost effective? The cost of the products hopefully get less, or there's more opportunities to sponsor great other things like your guys' podcasts or other podcasts or other things in the industry to make lighting better.
Well, I would say that the biggest problem was the Johnny-come-lately and the lighting marauders, Greg, that entered the lighting industry about 2013 with all their private equity and their move fast and break stuff Silicon Valley nonsense. And they came in and they brought a lot of bucks. And you know what? Light Fair surged to an enormous size that I never thought was sustainable. By 2017, I didn't think it could keep going at that size.
And
Taking
sure
over
hasn't.
all of Las Vegas
Right.
for the lighting industry? Come on, it's not that big an industry.
Yeah.
And I always talk about, and we continued to talk to ourselves. So we got huge, we got massive, we took over all of Las Vegas, but we were still talking to ourselves. So we didn't make the industry any better. We just looked bigger, but great. Did we personify the things that you guys do? Do we personify what lighting designers do? No, we were just bigger.
No, in fact, it would the opposite happen. A lot of the Nailed almost went bankrupt during that time.
Yeah.
And we lost the big three. And I'm not going to say we as an industry. I just say the industry lost 3 leaders in that time. Yet there was more money sloshing around than ever.
Right.
Why? Because I don't think people were making money. I think they were spending money.
Yeah.
And now I think what we need to figure out, and we were talking a little before the show and we had to stop, is getting the industry more connected together and understanding what's out there. Like you said, not a lot of people that you talk to actually know about Get a Grip on Lighting. And I'm not trying to plug our stuff, but that it's an important avenue to get the distributor's voice out there is what it's about.
I would agree. I am a frequent watcher online. I'm not really a listener of your podcast and the Lighting Controls podcast as well. We need more of that in the marketplace for people to start having the conversations and respond to the ideals that you guys are talking about and bringing forward. That's what needs to happen.
And you know what the thing is? You talk about Al Usinski at Inside Lighting or Randy Reed at Edison Report. These people are not competitors with Get a Grip on Lighting.
Right.
There's lots of room for everybody. We're doing our thing.
Yep.
We're coming from a certain perspective as practitioners in the industry. They're reporting the news. And even Al and Randy have different audiences. And I think that there needs to be more of these voices from the front lines representing the individual aspect of the industry, whether it's contractors, whether it's designers, whether it's lighting controls professionals. And with the Lighting Controls podcast, Greg, that, fortunately we're the executive producers of, the Lighting Controls podcast is supported both by lighting controls professionals and the manufacturers.
Right.
And I think that's where the key is to have a perspective and to voice that perspective you're a lighting designer. Is that
Yes,
correct?
I am.
And a specifier.
Lighting designer. We do not sell the products. We do not represent the products. We are completely independent.
Does there need to be a lighting designers podcast?
There absolutely does. And I'm excited to say that we're putting that together as we speak, walking around the show, trying to finalize some things. But we are talking about putting together a podcast called Lighting Matters and really personifying the idea and the ideals of lighting design in the marketplace, taking on what you guys are doing with Get a Grip and with the lighting controls and taking kind of all of those elements and seeing how it applies in the lighting design world and extenuating some of those discussion points.
Yeah, so we often, we were in Germany a couple weeks ago, and our conclusion was that there's nothing in Germany for lighting distributors.
Right.
That doesn't mean that there's nothing in Germany for lighting designers. It doesn't mean that there's nothing in Germany for the whole host of other lighting people that are out there. It just, if you have light bulbs in a warehouse and you're regionally located in the United States or Canada, you don't need to go to Light and Build in Germany.
You do.
Right?
Yeah.
That's our perspective.
I could see that. It's been a while since I've been there. It was pre-COVID, but we had a designer there. And what I believe at Light and Build is you see what's going to come, right? We need UL, ETL, CSA. But as a lighting designer who loves dolly controls, for us, it's this market of all this stuff that we could use if they just realize that there's uneducated lighting specifiers here that aren't using lighting controls, right? So there's a great market there for design. And I think that the empowerment that we have with our friendly distributors in Chicago is we tell them what we saw, and I think, in the end, you guys talk a lot about making maintenance, helping a client with new things. Really you need stuff that you can get today, right?
Yep.
That show is not a place for what you can get today in the United States.
Yeah, I can't place an order on the floor of that show.
No.
Where I could do that here.
100. I think there's plenty of people here who would love to take your check today.
Exactly.
Right.
Here's a PO, buddy.
Right. Now, there's the catch-22 to that on is it a project in your hometown or is it a project across the state lines? And there's a whole problem in Michigas there. But, these people will take a check. Absolutely. And honestly, it's one of the things I love about coming into the show with my team, because right now we actually have a couple of projects that, we need 1.8 million in fiber and we need, $2 million in another thing. I mean, we have huge jobs. And when you start walking around the show floor and you're not talking about theory, you're like, hey, I have an application and I have a client who just wants to buy, this is the best opportunity, because I love that part of this job. I love that part of the design, but also the, dingling the check.
Avi likes to make business, Greg.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I do too. And when I think about a lot of trade shows, you mentioned is let's talk about theory. No, I want practical application.
Right.
I want it right now. I want to be able to sell it tomorrow or today. So
Yeah.
I think that's what I like about the potential here is seeing that. Back to your podcast that you're going to be coming up with. What do you see as your potential guest list? Obviously, lighting designers, but are you thinking outside the box in terms of other?
Yeah, our first initial lineup, we're looking at one or two lighting designers, but I also want to get outside of that. I think you guys had Richard Whiten on your podcast.
Yeah.
Richard is a very close friend, and I love the way he thinks about lighting design. Even though he's never practiced as a lighting designer, he always references and asks people for that.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. I also think there's the business of lighting design that's really important. So we want to talk about that and manufacturers. This is not a just talk to lighting designers podcast, but this is how do we talk about lighting design and explain design and explain maintenance and explain getting your products on the job and explain dangling the check and reality beyond creative craziness, right?
May I jump in here?
Please.
So we're gonna, and we discussed this before. We're gonna have your podcast as a what do we call it? Greg, what do we call it when we do 6 episode
package
pilot?
or-
6
Pilot,
episode
I've been
pilot.
doing the same thing.
So we're gonna put it on Get a Grip on Lighting, and so that people can see what you guys have. And then the goal is though really to find out, and this is interesting. You'll like this. First, you got to find out what the problems in lighting design are.
Right.
Through conversation, recorded conversation, not I'm not going to say the word, but this talking, poop talking in the trade show floor or whatever. We're going to do this. We were just talking about it before the show about how you talk to people and then you email them and they give you the polite Minnesota no.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But actually, we're recording and we're going to do this, and this is what's going to happen. And this is the problem with lighting design. People need to know about this. And we did that with Get a Grip on Lighting. Get a Grip on Lighting. The design community, I think, needs a locus, a center to orbit around where the conversations that matter actually happen.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because our industry organizations, I mean, you guys have Neld, am I saying that right?
You got it right.
Right, and they're doing amazing things, and I've heard from other distributors in Chicago hearing the buzz of what's going on there. But you look at our trade organizations, and the buzz is not the buzz, right? I mean, really, our organization is IALD, and I think that's a separate conversation that I'll leave for the podcast. But what do we do with that organization, and why is that organization not the sounding block for these conversations? And what's IES doing, right? And how do we get out of our silo? And I will come back to this constantly. How do we get talking beyond the walls of this conference room?
Yes.
Beyond the lighting world, to the architects, to the owners, to everybody we deal with who actually cares about light. Because really the conversation becomes nobody cares about light until it doesn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's the problem is that people think a lot of designers, specifiers, and people that do not supply replacement parts, okay, they think lighting matters. It actually, to the Hilton Hotel, it doesn't, unless it's not working. Just like the internet today. The internet doesn't matter to anybody except internet dorks. Okay. Right. Oh, we got 70 megabytes up and 70 megabytes down. Scott Walker's very happy about that, so we can live stream. You don't care about that. We just want to live stream, right? People just want to have the lights. They want to dim them when they need to, whatever it is, right? But it does matter when it doesn't work. That's exactly. when the rubber meets the road. Or
you walk into a hotel room, as we're staying at the Courtyard down the street, beautiful, but the bathroom, like, I need sunglasses. It's unbelievable.
But you don't need to be a lighting guy to notice that.
No. Right. But you need a lighting guy or smart lighting people amongst the group I'm sitting here with to know that you don't need 5 million foot candles in a bathroom.
Yes, agreed. And, finally, I would say that one of the things that, when we're talking about a lighting design podcast and about the management of the lighting design industry and the voice of the lighting design industry, you might run up, you might have some butting up against people. Okay, and I'm going to tell you, a lot of those people that you're going to butt up against are not going to be lighting people.
I would agree with that.
Okay,
very much so.
All right, the lighting people will embrace this. Okay,
I think so. I think that there's a lot of people who do lighting design who aren't lighting designers.
Sure.
And I think that there's going to be some butting heads that happens with that. I talked about this last time we were together. We have a pricing video that talks about overage. I got a lot of feedback on that overage video. How dare you start explaining how I make money? Are you serious? I mean, this is very important. I'm not saying that overage is a bad thing or a good thing. I don't know what it is, but it should be something that somebody knows about.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the conversation. I think there is going to be some butting heads and hopefully some conversation that comes from it. Yeah. You said a really great point. There's so many conversations that happen on this show floor and other show floors, and then people go back to their offices. Well, it's time to move on. It's time
for them to be episode number 251 on Get a Grip on Lighting. Or
Absolutely.
What did you say the name of your podcast was going to be?
Lighting Matters.
Lighting Matters. So you're going to be episode 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exactly. And it's a recorded conversation. It's a body of work you're going to put together to put. And you know what? It's to serve the industry.
100%.
That's what it's about.
Right.
And, finally on that point, your podcast will empower the voices of people that practice lighting design on a daily basis.
Agreed.
That's so important. Like, so many people walk around, they don't think they have a voice. And then they come on Get a Grip on Lighting and they realize people care about what they think.
Totally.
Yeah, 100%. It is amazing what the recorded word is in our world now, right? It's the inbound marketing. It is the thought leader position that you guys have created, and hopefully with this podcast I can work with my co-host Lisa Reed, and between the two of us and all the presenters we create more thought leaders in the lighting design world.
So we're talking about a Gutenberg moment here, Gutenberg press moment in the lighting industry. We want to invite you, if you're listening to this out there, to go check out KeystoneTech.com. That's KeystoneTech.com. And Avi, what's your website for More Lights?
More Lights is morelights.com, morlights.com.
Check it out, folks. Thanks for listening on the live stream. Bye for now. See you in half an hour or so.